So many times we are told that to make the best decision, just follow your gut, right? Listen to your instincts. So Daniel Kahneman says that you should delay your intuition. Why delay? Why not eliminate? Because ultimately you will have to take decision with your intuition only. Are you always confused while taking decisions? Today I'm going to discuss 4 ways that can transform your decision-making process. And then I'm going to share 3 mental health guidelines which can help you reduce your anxiety, confusion, and even regrets that you have after making decisions. This video can change your life, so listen carefully. Before we get into decisions, let's talk about the concept of reality itself. Like, what is reality? Because the basic idea is if you know reality really well, your decisions will be better. So I summarize reality in 2 categories. One is the description of reality, like what is the current state, and then the cause and effect, which is all the rules and principles that can ultimately change the state from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. So causes lead to effects, and those effects become causes for other effects, and so on. For example, the description of reality could be a glass is on the table and I am on the side. Now this is the description of state 1, but now if my hand moves in a certain direction with a certain speed and hits the glass, then the glass may fall over on the ground. So for the glass to be sitting on the table to falling on the ground, this required some principles to come into place, some interaction of variables in the reality, and then we have another state of reality. And there are other parallels to this summarization that I just did. Alan Turing, the genius computer scientist, also known as the father of modern computer science, he said that all of the computer operations can be actually summarized into 2 things: data and instructions. So here data is the description of reality, which is all the zeros and ones, which I'm going to be calling variables, and instructions are all those laws and principles which are applied on that data. And another parallel is in physics. According to the standard model of physics, the reality can be divided in those 2 categories. One is 12 fundamental particles. The second is the 4 fundamental forces. Basically 4 fundamental ways all those 12 particles can interact with each other. And those forces are strong force, weak force, gravity, electromagnetism. Why are we talking about reality right now? Because basically if you understand variables in any given situation and how those variables will interact, all those principles around those variables, you pretty much can take perfect decisions. Like, the closer you are in touch with reality, the better your decisions will be. But there is one problem here, which brings us to the second section. In life, you face infinity of decisions because technically you're dealing with unlimited variables and unlimited principles. Because the thing is, as you go further and further in any area, more and more variables show up and more principles come to light. So for example, let's say I want to get healthy. So where would I start? I'll probably start with the 3 major variables, which is my exercise, my diet, my sleep, right? But obviously that'll never be enough. Now let's say my sleep is okay, my diet is also okay, and I have to really start working out. So let's talk about exercise. As soon as you choose exercise, new variables open up. Now within exercise, what do we do? Now again, there are 3 major variables there. One could be I can do some cardio. Another one, I could do some strength training. Third, I could do yoga and stretching and some flexibility moves. Which one do I need? Now I say, you know what? Let's just build some muscles. Let's go do some strength training. Now when you pick strength training, again new variables show up. In strength training, do you want to build endurance, or do you want to build strength, or do you want to build your muscles? Those are actually all different things. Then you have to decide which one do I have to pick. So okay, you go with, okay, I just want to build bigger muscles. So that's technically called hypertrophy. When you start out building your muscles, you have to learn the nature of your muscles. How do they actually get built? So the basic idea that any trainer will tell you is you first work those muscles, basically put them under stress, and then you eat food, rest and recover, and lo and behold, there is some changes in your muscles. Your muscles are slightly bigger. And as you go forward, if you keep putting it under more and more stress, and if you keep recovering and keep eating food, your muscles will get bigger. That's like the simplistic explanation. But will that be enough? Of course not. You would need more knowledge on how to actually do this. So now you have to think about which exercises to do. So your trainer will probably recommend, okay, start with some big movements. Okay, do some push-ups, do some pull-ups, some bench press, some military press, some squats, and some deadlifts. What we call compound movements. So you do that for a while, but then you reach a plateau. Then you realize, okay, no, now I want more definition. Then new variables will open up. Now you'll have to learn about specific muscle groups. Your biceps, triceps, deltoids, pecs, lats, quads, hamstrings, and you would have to learn specific exercises for all of them. And during all of this, you of course would have to learn how many reps to do, how much weight to pick up, how much rest to take between sets, how to divide all the exercises throughout the week, etc., etc. So as you keep advancing, you would need more and more knowledge, and you would have to make more and more decisions. And by the way, this was just one slice of your life. Right now, you haven't even dealt with sleep. You haven't even dealt with diet. And then other areas, then health also, which is you haven't dealt with mental health, your career. So pick whatever area you want in your life. There are infinite amount of decisions that you can take. So because there are infinite variables, this brings us to the main section, which is the 4 guidelines. The first one is prioritization of decision-making effort based on desires. Since there are infinite variables in your reality and there are infinite principles around them, you have to pick the ones, you have to learn the ones which fulfill your most important desires. You have to apply your decision-making effort in those areas. You can't invest all your time and energy in every small thing. Technically, should I order a sandwich or a burger can also be a very confusing decision. And I have personally spent sometimes half an hour on it. What to watch on Netflix can also be a very confusing decision. So the first guideline around decision making is be able to distinguish between what's really important for you and what's not, and allocate your energy accordingly. This is something that Tim Ferriss also says, which is make reversible or fixable decisions as fast as you can. So for example, if you're shopping online and you need to just order some t-shirts, if you know that you can return them, then don't spend too much time thinking about what to order. Whatever seems good enough, just order it. You know that you can change it. Basically, if you save a lot of energy around small decisions and use that energy and apply it to most important decisions, ultimately your life will be much better off. And what do we do about the most important decisions? This brings us to the second point. Learn constantly, especially the domain-specific things. Like I said earlier, every decision that you take, every step that you take opens up new variables in life and new principles around those variables. So whatever is important in your life, never stop learning around it. Read books, listen to podcasts, watch videos like this, follow the domain experts, listen to specialists, then ultimately make your own notes. You will also need to learn to identify between good sources of information and bad sources of information. The more specific knowledge you gain around those variables and principles, the better your decisions will be. Let's take a very simple example how knowledge affects decision making. Up until 40s and 50s, people used to smoke readily, even doctors recommended it. But then new knowledge came forward, how smoking is so harmful for your health, it can be a contributor to cancer. Now nobody really had to teach you anything. This knowledge of cause and effect was more than enough for all of us to understand we should not smoke. So many people are now taking the decision to quit, and I took the decision to never even start. So basically what I want to reiterate is there is no shortcut around good decisions. You have to gain knowledge about what all the variables are and what are the principles around those variables. Let's go to the third guideline. Third one is take constant feedback, and you can take that feedback from reality and from other people directly. So as I've been saying, it all depends on your knowledge, but your knowledge is not perfect. You don't know everything, which means wherever you are, you have some blind spots. This is why keep taking feedback. Involve other people, ask them what do they think. In fact, one of the most important piece of advice given to startup founders is keep taking feedback. In fact, make your feedback cycles very short. Like you make a hypothesis about this will work in the market, you deploy it, and then take feedback. And feedback doesn't necessarily mean you always have to ask people, although you should, but sometimes the reality gives you feedback. Whatever you tried, if that did not work, that is feedback. And yeah, never stop talking to other people, because like I said, you may be focusing on 5 variables, you may not even be aware of the 6th one, and somebody else can point it out. Everybody else has their own experiences. People have also learned from their own failures. They have their own subjective point of view to reality. So it's like for you to know more and more reality, we all are like pieces of puzzles. The more pieces you can bring together, the closer you will be to solving the puzzle. Next time you're about to take a big decision or trying to learn something important, just ask 5 people around you who may have some idea about it. This last tip is actually from Daniel Kahneman. Daniel Kahneman is a Nobel Prize winner, and he's considered to be the father of modern behavioral finance. He has done groundbreaking work in understanding the areas of judgment and decision making under uncertainty. So his advice is delay intuition. So many times we are told that to make the best decision, just follow your gut, right? Listen to your instincts, go with your intuition. This is like a gamble. So Daniel Kahneman says that you should delay your intuition. Why delay? Why not eliminate? Because ultimately you will have to take decision with your intuition only. You are not perfect. But what do you have to do first? Gather information systematically first. Gather as much data as you reasonably can and then form your intuition. For example, if you have to buy a house, don't go by your intuition. First make a list of all the attributes that you want in your ideal house. Like what are the things that are most important to you? Like a big kitchen, a balcony, a common bathroom, good closet space, proximity to a park, etc. Make sure to only include things that matter to you the most. Then when you go with the broker and check out new properties, make sure to rate all those properties on those attributes. Give them a rating from let's say 0 to 10 and then add up all your ratings across the attributes and come up with a composite score. Do this much diligently before making a judgment based on your intuition. Don't just get carried away by a house which has like nice tiles or a great wallpaper. Your intuition, your instinct can often focus on the wrong things. That's why you gather the information that you want first, which was important to you, and then let your intuition make the final decision. Now let's get to the 3 guidelines on your mental health. First one is avoid excessive confusion around decisions, because there are no perfect decisions. Sometimes by weighing the information too much, you can actually get to a stage called decision paralysis. You get so confused that you don't make any decision at all. Always remember that no matter how good the decision you take, there will be some drawbacks, and no matter bad the decision you take, there will be some upsides too. In most circumstances, taking some decision is better than not taking any decision. So don't beat yourself up thinking, why am I so confused? Your confusion is natural. Wherever there are options, there is going to be confusion, but then ultimately it's your job to rise above it. And by the way, good news here is that whatever decision you make, make, ultimately your brain will find a way to like that decision. Dan Gilbert, in his TED Talk, he said that we have like this psychological immune system. This is a cognitive process where we change our views of the word so that we start to feel good about the word that we find ourselves in. For example, if you give me two paintings, now both are really beautiful, but after a lot of deliberation and a lot of confusion, I pick one. After a week, if you talk to me, my brain will actually start liking the one that I picked more than the one I rejected. It's like your brain is synthesizing happiness. So take a decision, your brain will find a way to like it. Second guideline is to avoid excessive anxiety. Remember that there are no permanent bad decisions, pretty much. Even if you end up making the wrong decision, you will have the chance to change it, to solve new problems, to make the most of whatever you do have. Life gives you multiple opportunities. We are built to adapt. No one bad decision can completely govern your life. So don't get so worried that, what if I take the wrong decision, my life will be over. Like if I go into the wrong college, my career is over. Life doesn't work that way. Third guideline is around regret. Avoid excessive regret also. Well, sometimes when you take decisions and they do go wrong, you end up going on this regret trip. Your mind starts to compare yourself with others, compare your decisions with others. I wish I'd done that. Why did I have to choose this job? Why did I have to marry this person? Why did I buy this washing machine? Etc. etc. Don't fall into the trap of regrets. You took a decision, accept it, go with it. Remember, you took the decisions with the knowledge at the time. At that time, you had knowledge of certain variables and their principles. As always, your knowledge was imperfect at that time. So of course, your decision was not perfect, could not have been perfect. So have realistic expectations from yourself. By regretting too much, you're basically saying to yourself that somehow in that moment, you should have magically done something else with that current knowledge. Well, it was impossible. You took the best decision that you could have taken. It could not have gone any other way. So psychologically, ultimately, you have to learn accepting your decisions, even if they are good, not so good, because if you don't, you will be in constant misery. Like I said, since there are no perfect decisions, you will always find yourself in regrets. What kind of a life would that be? And ultimately, you don't need perfect decisions. Again, let me quote Daniel Kahneman here. All decisions are made with partial information, and decisions don't have to be perfect in order to work. And most decisions are imperfect and they still work. So what we can do is improve things at the margins. So basically, you have to accept the fact that you are imperfect, and so your decisions will be imperfect, but still your life can be good enough. Hence, be kinder to yourself. Ultimately, the goal of all good decisions is to maximize benefit and minimize cost. Benefit to you, to your multiple desires, and to other people, and also benefit on all the time scales, like the short run, the medium run, and the long run. And the only way to do that better and better is to know what variables are you dealing with and what are the laws and principles around those variables. I hope this helped. Thank you for listening. Shridhar Life School is a team of psychologists who specialize in counseling. If you're going through very difficult times or you want to achieve higher well-being, we offer one-on-one counseling for individuals, couples, parents, and their children. To book sessions, go to our website shridharlifeschool.com.